You ever smile in a room full of people, then go home feeling completely empty? That's not you being weak, that's your energy being drained. You ever walk away from a conversation and just feel off? Not angry, not sad, just off, heavy, like something was taken from you but you can't explain what. There's no big blow up, no insult, no obvious moment that crossed the line. You were smiling, nodding, laughing along. You played the part. But when the lights go down and the world gets quiet, you feel drained. That feeling, it's not random. It's not some mysterious mood swing. It's your nervous system reacting to something real. It's your energy field being tampered with. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, warned us about this very thing, about the people, the dynamics, and the invisible patterns that chip away at your spirit. Things that seem normal, but leave you exhausted. Things that look like relationships, but feel like survival. And the wild part? You've probably been told this is just how love works, that this is what friendship looks like, that being ignored is maturity, that being mocked is bonding, that love is earned by silence, sacrifice, and self-abandonment. But it's not. And no, you're not being too sensitive. You're not imagining things. You've just been conditioned to confuse pain with connection, to see guilt as love, to treat numbness like peace. You've been trained to act calm even while your confidence is bleeding out under the surface. And today, we're done with that. Let's break it all down. Behavior by behavior, pattern by pattern, you'll learn how to see the red flags others ignore, and more importantly, you'll learn how to protect your energy and take back control of your life. Let's start with one of the most overlooked yet damaging behaviors of all. Behavior 1. Mockery disguised as jokes. It always starts with laughter. A quick jab about your appearance, a sarcastic dig at your dreams, a little harmless joke about your struggles, spoken in front of others. Everyone laughs, even you. You smile, maybe fire back with something witty. On the surface, it seems like no big deal. But when the night ends and you're alone, it replays in your head, over and over. Not just the words, but the tone, the smirk, the timing. You feel humiliated, but also confused, because they were just joking, right? You tell yourself to toughen up. You say, I'm strong, I can take it. But the sting is still there. And it's not a one-time thing. It's a pattern. The sarcasm, the digs, the funny insults, always hidden behind a smile. And if you speak up, you're told, relax, it's just a joke. Suddenly, you're the problem. But let me make this clear. Humiliation doesn't hurt less just because people laugh at it. Jung would have called this symbolic violence. It's emotional harm that flies under the radar because it's wrapped in social norms. Over time, you stop confronting it. You adapt. You even preemptively mock yourself to protect against deeper cuts. You become the chill person who takes every joke until your identity becomes the joke. And worst of all, your energy shrinks. Your voice softens. Your presence fades. You start to doubt your worth. You stop speaking up. But listen, you weren't born to be the background character in your own story. You weren't meant to be comic relief in other people's drama. What you need isn't thicker skin, it's stronger boundaries. Next time someone tries to disguise cruelty as humor, ask yourself, is this real connection or just passive aggression? Will you laugh along again or walk away? Behavior 2. Emotional invalidation. Ever try to speak your truth, calmly, respectfully, only to be told you're overreacting? You weren't looking for a fight. You just wanted to express what felt off. But before you can even finish, they cut you off. You're being dramatic. You always make everything a big deal. Just let it go. It's not that serious. And suddenly, your emotions are on trial. You start rewording, filtering, toning it down. You call it communicating better, but it's really emotional translation. You're shrinking your truth to protect their comfort. But here's the danger. The more you silence yourself, the less you feel seen. The less you feel seen, the less real you feel. Eventually, you don't even try to explain. You internalize it. You think maybe you are too sensitive. This isn't growth, it's psychic repression. Something Jung described as pushing parts of your psyche so far down that they get lost in the shadow. But they don't disappear. They just build up. One day they'll erupt, maybe as anxiety, maybe as rage, maybe as complete emotional shutdown. And the saddest part? Emotional invalidation often comes from the people you care about most, the ones you trusted, the ones who just didn't have the capacity to hold your truth. But your nervous system doesn't care about their intentions. It only knows you weren't safe to feel. So next time someone says, it's not that deep, remember this. If you can't speak up about the small things, how will you ever speak when it really counts? Your feelings are not too much, they are the map. And anyone who keeps tearing that map out of your hands isn't safe to travel with. Behavior 3, gaslighting. This one's dangerous because it doesn't just hurt. It warps your sense of reality. You remember something clearly, what was said, how it felt, but when you bring it up, that's not how it happened. You're twisting things again. You always exaggerate, and suddenly the issue isn't what happened. It's whether you're even sane. You're no longer defending your emotions, you're defending your perception of the world. That's gaslighting. It's not just denial, it's erosion. It's turning your memories into doubts. It's making you question yourself so deeply that you start believing them over your own instincts. Carl Jung warned about this kind of inner fracture. He described the psychological damage caused when your internal reality and external narrative are in constant conflict. Over time, this split becomes so deep you lose access to your own inner compass. You become confused, anxious, paralyzed. You rely on their version of reality because yours feels unreliable. But let me tell you something, calm voices can still be manipulative. Polite smiles can still be lies. And just because someone sounds reasonable doesn't mean they're right. If you constantly feel like you're losing your mind around someone, it's not you, it's the pattern. And the only escape? Walk. Don't argue, don't explain, just leave. That's how you reclaim your truth. Behavior 4, silent contempt. Sometimes the loudest form of abuse is silence. No yelling, no fighting, just absence. They're physically there, but emotionally gone. You talk, they half listen. You share, they shrug. You exist, but it's like you're invisible. There's no more warmth, no curiosity, no effort. And because they're not yelling, you convince yourself you're imagining things, but you're not. Jung said, loneliness doesn't come from being alone. It comes from not being able to communicate what matters. And that's exactly what this is. You're in the same room, but on different planets. This is silent contempt. It's not distance, it's punishment. It's love being withheld to teach you a lesson without saying a word. And after a while, you stop reaching, you stop asking for connection, you pretend you're fine, you become emotionally self-sufficient, but not in a strong way, in a survival way. And then one day, someone sees you again, really sees you, and it's overwhelming. You suddenly realize how starved you were. Let that be the wake-up call. You shouldn't have to beg to be seen. You shouldn't have to accept silence as love. If you're more invisible than valued, it's time to leave the room. Behavior 5, self-sacrifice that slowly destroys you. Here's the lie we love to tell ourselves. If I just give a little more, they'll see my worth. So you keep giving. You're the fixer, the peacemaker, the solid one. You handle everything. You don't complain. You don't rest. You just keep showing up. And everyone loves you for it because you make their lives easier. But deep down, you're tired. You're hurt. You're starting to resent everyone and everything, not because you don't care, but because no one ever stops to ask how you're really doing. Why? Because you trained them not to. You told the world you were fine, even when you weren't. You gave so much that they forgot you had limits. And now you're empty. Jung would have called this a self-betrayal, the slow erasure of your own needs, done in the name of love. But here's the thing, real love doesn't require you to disappear. True strength isn't about bleeding quietly. It's about knowing your limit and having the courage to stop before you break. Want to be respected? Set the standard, say no, pull back. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Behavior 6, accepting pain just to feel like you belong. You stayed in that relationship, that job, that friendship, not because it made you feel whole, but because the thought of being alone terrified you more than the pain of staying. So you normalized the hurt, you made excuses, you said things like, they're just going through something. It's not that bad. At least I'm not alone. But deep down, you weren't staying out of love. You were staying out of fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of being unwanted. Fear that maybe, just maybe, you're not enough on your own. Jung said, the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. If you were raised to equate pain with love, then you've likely been repeating that script. But just because you've known pain your whole life doesn't mean you have to keep choosing it. You don't have to stay where you're shrinking. You don't have to earn your place in someone else's story. You deserve love that doesn't hurt, and belonging that doesn't require suffering. The hidden twist. You've become what you hated. Here's the hardest truth to face. Maybe you've started doing these things too. You shut down, you gaslight, you mock others. Not to be cruel, but because it was modeled for you. Because your nervous system thinks this is what safety looks like. Jung called this your shadow, the part of you that holds the anger, the bitterness, the control you pretend not to have. Healing isn't about blaming others. It's about taking responsibility for the energy you now carry and the pain you might be passing on. You have to stop the cycle. Right here, right now. The answer, individuation, becoming who you truly are. Jung offered a path forward. Individuation, becoming your full, true self, not the mask, not the version others needed, the real you. That's where peace begins. And here's how to do it. Awareness over amnesia. Stop pretending it didn't hurt. Name what broke you. Own your story. Boundaries over performance. Protect your peace. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to explain no. Integration over image. You're allowed to be whole. Angry, loving, scared, strong. You're all of it. Protecting your energy. 7 ground rules. Don't argue. State your truth. Then stop. Hide your triggers from people who weaponize them. Keep parts of you sacred. Detach when disrespected. Don't threaten to leave. Just leave. Stay centered. Let your silence speak. Play the long game. Let time reveal who's real. Final thought. This is your line in the sand. This is where your story changes. Not because something dramatic happened, but because you finally see what you've been tolerating. And now, you're done. You won't shrink. You won't apologize for needing more. You won't keep disappearing to be loved. This is your rebirth, the start of your true life. Say it loud. I reclaim my energy. I choose me. Welcome back. And if this hit home, don't stop here. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. I drop videos that help you break the patterns, protect your peace, and reclaim your power every single week. This is where your real life begins. Why? Because you trained them not to. You told the world you were fine, even when you weren't. You gave so much that they forgot you had limits. And now you're empty. Jung would have called